The Miracle Perspective, showing you the person you are meant to be. It's finished.
It's the time of the day. Please don't be late. Call your friends, I'll call my friends. Let's go and be changed. TMP is doing the most. TMP is doing the most. It's the time of the day. Please don't be late. Call your friends, I'll call my friends.
I always had a problem with the state of the world and the distribution of happiness and sadness, wealth and poverty. I always wanted to understand why certain people would have a better life than other people. But what baffled me the most is why other people would be even in a worse state than other people. And that's the majority of the people we have in the whole global population. And I started going on a quest to try and understand why those few people would have the most and why the majority of people would have the least or not have anything at all. When you look at the state of the world today, there's many social ills. Things like high unemployment rates, high poverty rates. We've got a high saturation of graduates who are unemployed. These are qualified people in specialized fields, but have no employment. We've got a great number of people who are suffering from workplace bullying. We've got a high majority of people, even students, who are suffering from peer-to-peer bullying. Depression is rampant. From the period of August 2020 to February 2021, it has been recorded that the adults have increased by 30% in their depression state. 30% of the people are depressed today than they were last year in 2020. Just in the period of a few months. What does that say about the future of our world? What does that say about the future of the well-being of people? There's many problems that people are undergoing. Abuse in the families. People are not able to speak out. They're stuck in one place and they cannot move on to the next place. People start businesses, they don't last. Another one is the fear of approaching interviews. So these are the social ills that people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and we do not know how to go out of them. And it's the majority of the people who are going through those problems. Few people have it better than the majority. How about relationships? We're living in a time where the failing of relationships is even made a joke. We act like we understand. We act like it's all good. Meanwhile, it's not. People are suffering in relationships. Family is broken. There is no stronghold in the family setting. Kids are heading families. And we've got a high number of single mother-headed families. All of these problems are suffered by the majority of the people. Only a few number of people have it better. And why is that? Well, I want to give you a solution that will solve all of this problem. Almost like a one-size-fits-all solution. It's the foundation of all of these problems that we face on this planet. And that solution is knowing who you are and knowing what makes you valuable. That is the foundation of living the life of your dreams. Let me take you on a journey. Back in 1994, I was born in a village. back in Mpumalanga, South Africa, in a village where the majority of the people were suffering from the social ills I was talking about. High poverty rate. They didn't have basic services like clean running water. We would wake up and go and get water from a central point where we would come with buckets and tubes of that could carry water and take back home to use for our daily services. I grew up in a setting where I was heading or tending for goats, cows. I was a herdsman for goats. I was always looking after my father's goats. We always took the cows to a place where they can get washed off from ticks, treated for ticks and different types of diseases. That is the type of lifestyle I come from. I come from a situation where our family was relatively better than the other families in the community. My father did very well, and I commend him for that. My father did his absolute best to try and give us a decent lifestyle. I mean us, his kids, and the family. So we were one of the few families that had things like TV, we had lights on a day-to-day. And I come from a situation where every evening we would have many people from the community come and watch TV at our house. I come from a situation where many people would come at home to eat dinner. We would have what we call shtuvi in my language. Shtuvi is a mixture of milk. We would milk cows. We had cows at home. We would milk cows, and that milk we would let it to rest the whole day. And at the evening, when the milk is well, I don't know what it does, but it's well situated, then we would cook it with maize meal to create pap. And that pap was called shtuvi. It was very nice. You could eat it just as it was. No need for relish or anything like that. So we had a huge number of people who would come at home every evening. When the cattle come back, we would now separate the mothers from the kids, the calves, and we would make sure that we go and prepare that shtuvi so that everyone can eat. And that was my family. I learned the basic skills of having the tender love and care for other people who didn't have much. That came with its perks and its disadvantages. Because coming from a situation where my father is a pastor, leading over 47 branches, he's the founder of our church, leading over 47 branches in South Africa, and a situation where you would host people from the community to watch TV and to eat at your house, I received a certain type of notoriety or respect from the community and everyone around me, because I am that pastor's kid, the well-off pastor's kid. It came with certain expectations and a certain standard that people expect me to live up to. Worsened by the fact that I am the only boy amongst 2 older sisters and 2 younger sisters, putting me right here in the middle. 2 older sisters, 2 younger sisters, myself. And I'm the only guy. That means this is the guy who will take over the ministry and everything that his father has, and he will take forward his father's legacy. It came with a lot of pressure. Came with its perks, came with its disadvantages. Back when I was going to grade 3, my father decided to move me from a school in my home province to another school, around about 150 k's away from home. There I stayed alone in our house, and my father would just come and visit and go back home. Visit, go back home. When he goes back home, I would have this cousin brother of mine to sleep over with me during the night. And during the day, he would go his way to school. I would prepare my way to school. So I looked after myself. My father taught me to cook, taught me how to clean, taught me how to do all the basic things that everyone does from a very young age. And I learned how to do that. This is what he did. Every time he comes and goes back home, he would leave me with about 50 Rand to 70 Rand. That was many years ago, so the Rand was still a bit strong. That was a lot of money at that time. Bread was still 5 Rand. And I would eat maybe 2 to 3 loaves a week because I would carry to school for lunch, eat when I come back from school. Sometimes when I'm lazy to cook, I would eat for dinner. So bread wouldn't last 2 days. So I would buy bread on Monday, buy bread on Tuesday or Wednesday, buy bread on Friday, because that is how I survived. And the change I would take as pocket money to school. The change I would use for my daily activities, whatever I want to do. But bottom line is, I had a lot of money. There came a problem in town. There was an arcade machine that came in a spaza shop. A spaza shop is a tuck shop where we bought bread and stuff. So the arcade machine was there for us to play. It was 50 cents to play this arcade machine. I got so addicted to that, just like many of my friends and peers. We were always there at the arcade machine, play with that arcade machine. But I had a lot of money, so I would break it down into a lot of 50 cents and I would play many games. Come back from school, I would go straight to the arcade machine and I'm playing the games. Didn't go home until it was late. I would only go home early when I know that my father is coming back. One day, my father did me so bad. Without expectation, he decided to come back. He came back when I was busy at the arcade machine. At the time he came back, he was expecting me to already be back from school. But I was not back from school. Well, he thought I was perhaps doing my extramural activities at school. He waited and waited and waited. I was nowhere to be found. Well, he started getting worried. Where is this boy? He called my teachers at school. They're like, the boy left school a long time ago. He called my transport. We dropped him a long time ago. Called my friend's place. Didn't see that guy today. We have our kid at home. We don't have yours. Now my father is in deep panic. Where is this guy? The time is moving. Now we are moving to 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm still not back. 6 o'clock, still not back. 7 o'clock, the Apollo lights are now on. Still not back. I'm busy playing games at the time. I'm having fun, the time of my life. But there was a problem there where I was playing games. This one friend of mine who was just playing, he was not even playing that day, he didn't have money, but he was asking to play with me. Like, can I just play one game? And as I'm playing, I'm being beaten up at one level. Only beaten up at one level. I try again. I'm beaten up at one level. Now I had that competitive spirit where I want to beat this thing. I want to do this thing. But I'm failing. And this guy's like, let me help you. I'm like, I'm going to give you now. Let me help you. I'm going to give you now. He asked until he got tired and he decided to give up and went home. Went home in a down spirit. Lucky enough, that was the day that the Lord has made for the guy. When he got home, he found my dad in deep panic, asking, where is your friend? He decided, you know what? There's no mercy for this guy. He told the guy that, hey, the guy is busy playing with money at the arcade machine. I don't know how that translated to me gambling in my father's ears, but it was not a good story. To cut the long story short, I came back late in the evening with a couple of friends. When I looked to the gate, I saw my father's car. Everything changed. I started sweating. It was a very hot evening. I started sweating. And I look at the gate, I see my father in a huge robe, a coat that goes down to his knees. And I'm wondering, who is this old man in a coat on a hot summer evening? Well, I get closer and I realize that is my dad. As I enter the house, I greet him at the gate and he's like, hi. I go inside the house. The house is a mess because I didn't clean. I hadn't cooked. I hadn't cleaned in a long time. Now I'm panicking, trying to cook a story. What am I going to tell my dad? Well, I went into the house. As I was busy cooking a story, my father realized that waiting for me would take so much time. He came to my room, and that day for the first time, he didn't knock. He just opened. And I'm like, you know what? There's a problem today. He asked me, Mahlori, ba, where do you come from? I was studying with my friends. Now that's when I understood the purpose of the long robe, because out of that long robe came out sticks, ladies and gents. Those sticks ended on my body, all of them. I'm sure it was 3, 4, 5. I don't know how many they are, but there were more than 3. All of them ended on my body, and I sobbed myself to sleep that night. Well, we moved over to the next week, and my dad had to go back home. I went to school in the morning, and usually when I go to school in the morning and my dad is in the house, when he leaves to go home, he will leave money on the table. He did the same thing. Just that this time around, he left 5 rand on the table. When I got back, I looked on the table, I saw a silver coin. That's a 5 rand. I'm wondering, what's happening here? And there's a note next to the 5 rand. It says, I'm gone home. See you when I come back. Here's your pocket money. From 50 rand to 5 rand. Yay! Gents and ladies, that was my life-changing moment. Well, to cut the long story short, I survived for another week and almost a half with that 5 rand. How I did it is explained in the book. But this brings me to a part where, with the image that I held in people's eyes compared to the life I had at home, where my dad was trying to teach me to be humble, to be responsible, independent at a very young age, there was a conundrum in who I was. Having to live up to those standards where the community and the church expects you to be a certain way because your father is a certain way. You should be having it all. How can you say you don't have money? How can you say you lived and survived from a 5 rand? Your father has it all. Not only that, you cannot be wrong. You cannot be seen in places where the people think a pastor's kid should be at. All of those things came to me and they fought against my identity. They became the obstacles of my identity. Because now I couldn't be who I was. I couldn't be who I am. I couldn't express myself the way I was supposed to be. I lost my identity in trying to impress everyone around me. And that's where I decided, you know what? If I need to be someone on this planet, I will need to do something about it. Just like how Maya Angelou says, if there's something that you don't like about your life, what you need to do is you change it. If you can't change it, change how you think about it, but don't complain. And that is the same strategy I use to my life. Ladies and gentlemen, in our lives, you've got who you are. You've got who you want to be, where you want to be in your life. But the gap in between who you are and who you want to be, or who you are meant to be, is obstacles. What's in between? That's obstacles. What are these obstacles? The obstacles can be fear, the fear of execution, living up to people's standards, always trying to seek validation and impressing other people around you. The obstacles of being scared to voice out what you have in your mind. Those become your obstacles from you becoming the person you are meant to be. Thereby, now you see the high rate of social ills like unemployment, because people do not understand themselves and their value because of these obstacles in between. The lack of my self-identity and self-value made me lose my ability and confidence in myself and in what I have to offer to the world. For a very long time, I stayed without the confidence that I can actually help people. I would always look good doing funny stuff, crazy things in the face of the people. I looked confident, but deep inside, I knew I was not confident. I knew that I was not it. And how many people out there are going through the same thing? People fail in job interviews just because they are not confident in who they are. People are abused and they go through bullying just because they do not understand their value and what they bring to the table. People are abused at work by their employers and their bosses because they do not understand their value. It is never the other person, and that's what I want to tell you. You are responsible for what you take. I am responsible for what I do. The other person is never a problem. It is always you and how you value yourself. That's where the 5-Friend University comes in. It is the ultimate guide to the person you are meant to be. Meaning whatever you want in this life is within yourself. The peace, the wealth, the job, everything you're looking for is within yourself. Just as Maya Angelou says, if there's something you don't like in your life, change it or change how you think about it. The reason why you feel like you're stuck and you need other people to come and help you is because you have not changed how you think about your situation. The 5-Friend University talks about 3 events that make up the identity of a human being: your past, your present, and your future. Many people run away from their past because it comes with a lot of trauma. It comes with a lot of setbacks. Maybe you've been abused. Maybe you come from bad conditions. You've been so poor. Your background is not amazing. And you don't want to go back there. And you don't even want to think about it. You are even embarrassed in saying that you come from a village. Just like I was. I was embarrassed about the fact that I am a pastor's kid. I was embarrassed by the fact that I come from a village. I was embarrassed by my own stories. For a very long time, I wasn't going to tell you the story I told you about myself because I was embarrassed in who I was. I always ran away from my past. But unfortunately, as you try and run away from your past and ignore it, your past does not run away from you and it does not ignore you. It keeps holding you and creeping upon you, and it manifests in a form of fears, weaknesses, insecurities, always seeking people's validation, not being able to speak up and speak your worth. And that is your past holding you back. Whenever you want to say something, it says, "Who are you?" in the face of everybody else. There's certain people who deserve certain things, not you. Why? Because perhaps you were shut down when you were still young. Every time you wanted to say something in the family, they would say, "Wait, you're not smart." Every time you want to add an input at school, the teacher would say, "No, you're not smart." Maybe your friends were oppressive to you, and that is your past. Those things are scaring you in going back to confront. But unfortunately, running away from them is holding you back again because you are not living your present day moment to your full and maximum potential. Therefore, even the hope of the future that you have in your mind, it becomes an impossibility to attain because you're still not fully expressive in who you are today. So the 5-Friend University is really here to guide you, empower you, to go back into your past, not to stay there, but to embrace it, to accept it, acknowledge it, take lessons from the past to use in your present day, and use your present day to propel you into the person that you are meant to be tomorrow. That's why it is the ultimate guide to the person you are meant to be. You are looking for a job? It might need you to take the long route to understand what gives you the anxiety when you're approaching an interview. What gives you the anxiety when you're approaching your boss to speak out your value? What gives you the anxiety to go and actually say, you know what I'm getting paid here is not enough. It's not my worth. It's the mindset and the fear of confronting your past and embracing it for what it is, because it made you who you are today. For as long as you're running away from your past, you will not understand who you are. Ladies and gentlemen, everything you're looking for in your life is within your ability to understand who you are and what value you bring to this planet. And this is my offering to you through the 5 University. I hope it becomes that guide to the person you are meant to be. I believe it's going to liberate your mind more than anything. I believe it's going to take you by the hand and help you to achieve anything you are hoping to achieve in your life, but you can't because of your current state and the fear that you have. But definitely, this 5 University, it is a university that is going to give you the life that you hope to get in the future. And that life is inside of you. And that is my offering to you with the 5 University. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you take experiences, and I would love that you give me any reviews of the book after getting the book. Thank you for joining me. It's finished.
The Miracle Perspective, showing you the person you are meant to be. It's finished.